Oh, heyo. As is probably obvious by now, I'm still actively processing a lot of things. I had a realization when paired with a few videos that ultimately helped me realize something. And I said it in the recording previously, but there's a continuation from that previous recording that I think matters a lot. The most basic level of social interactions deal with intentions and impacts/consequences, which I've described as being values worth 1 and 2, respectively. But when you compare traumatized people to non-traumatized people, let alone people of different lifestyles, it becomes clear that some people would actually count consistency and sincerity with different weights. Because personally, I count consistency as a 3 and sincerity as a 4. But someone else might count sincerity as a 3 and consistency as a 4 because of their own past life experiences. And for the longest time, I never really considered that. I mean, for the longest time, I was so trapped in my head that I wasn't able to consider other people's perspectives. It was a great part of my early life, is just coming to my own conclusions and thinking them correct. It's only when I started to break out of those conclusions that I really began to live and began to try and process things. In doing so, I've struggled a lot, made some personal mistakes that I'm ashamed of. I've also made progress. And in all of that progress, I realized something I want to focus on is minimizing miscommunication in what ways are possible and understanding how miscommunication happens. Because 9 times out of 10, miscommunication is a bigger issue that starts things than anything else. And when two people use the same word but have different definitions for that word, it's bound to cause confusion. So to realize that consistency and sincerity can have different weights or values to other people relative to their experiences helps to create more wiggle room for understanding different perspectives. Because you can have good intentions but negative impacts, and so you're left with the negative one. Or you could have horrible impacts and deep sincerity. And that just gets into a whole messy field, because then at what point is sincerity positive or negative? Well, that then refers back to the impact, so it's... So there's a nuance there. Meanwhile, consistency over time is more reliable, but it's not always a good measuring tool because there are misconstrued angles that can leave you seeing consistency in one light when it could be an entirely different thing in another. Oh. So you can't just play this as a 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, positive and negatives aligned. Sometimes you need to count it as multiple states varying off of the possibilities. You know, maybe I've got the order of intentions impact consequences, sincerity and consistency wrong. What if intentions are 1, sincerity is 2, impacting consequences are 3, and consistency is 4? Two impacts slash consequences as 3, and consistency is 4. Because then you can do basic addition without having to worry about other things. And depending on one's environment, the order can shuffle. So in polite society, intentions are a 1, sincerity is a 2, impacts and consequences are a 3, and consistency is a 4. So in an acceptable polite and or moral society, that's the order. But for a practical one, sincerity would be a 4, intentions would be a 1, consistency, well, that depends. A lot of this depends, and it's in trying to figure this out that I'm learning many new things. In structure, actually, wait, no. Intentions is 1, sincerity is 2, impacts slash consequences as 3, and consistency as a value of 4. That sounds more like structure. Meanwhile, intentions and sincerity as 2 and 3 respectively, impacts and consequences as 4. No, that doesn't make sense. That I feel like I'm trying to analyze a slice that's not in parallel with the other slice I'm using. Because I view the whole circle concept with the practical on the right, acceptable on the left, consistent up top, structure, consistency, simplicity up top. Well, practical right. Acceptable left. Stability top. And growth bottom. But then intentions is 1, sincerity is 2, impacts and consequences is 3, and consistency is 4. And I feel like that would be its own scale that would intersect at different angles in different territories. So to correlate the two in parallel would ruin the point, would muddy the waters and ruin the point of having them as separate contexts on the same situation. Depending on the societal structure, the weight values have have like what, 16 different possible combinations. That's not even getting into how one can have a surface layer of something. How one can have a surface layer of something, but a substance of something else. And in a way, tit for tat is a very functional bench line and check mark in that regard, because everything tries to just figure out if it's playing against tit for tat. Because tit for tat is fucking terrifying. It's interesting how this all kind of overlaps in one way or another. In any case, this is not the only thing I'm wanting to share in this recording. I'm wanting to archive just this little sequence of images I've got here. Alright, window. Okay, then I guess that's not working. Actually, you know what, yeah. These are a few of the memes I have in my archive, and I figured they might be useful to other people. And I tried to organize them in points of relevance and reference, not just to myself, but other people too. I don't know how well I did, but hey. This recording is just an attempt, not the final product. So, here's to me reading these aloud. If you do not address your childhood traumas, your romantic relationships will. That's not a joke, that's a terrifying reality. And this is something I can respect and understand, even if I'm not always in a headspace to work with it. Person, I want to be with someone emotionally available. Same person with someone emotionally available. I don't know what any of this shit is, and I'm fucking scared. Rain gives logic to anxiety. Anxiety does not run with logic. You can't use logical logic to bypass anxiety. The only thing that can address it effectively is being able to navigate emotional logic to meet it with where it's at. Be it in talking about things that actually stress you out or other options that can help. Genuine love and affection. My traumatized ass thinking it's a trap. And I'm not the only one. I'm willing to bet many other people could relate to this. Dating over the age of 25. I'm old and I'm tired. Please do not play me. And now here's something I think is really fucking useful. Maybe that's why I put it on F. Who knows? Guys of gentle words. My father once told me to never date anyone who talks smoothly around you from the start. Because if someone likes you, they should be a little nervous, and honestly, I think that's some of the best advice anyone has ever given me. Told my dad about this text post, and he got so excited he teared up, and then he said he felt like he just adopted 40,000 new children to share his wisdom with, and he hopes you all meet kind, sweet people he could be proud of. Now this is something that kind of helps ground me away from charm and to look for the reality of things. Now this one, yeah, this one. Maybe I don't have to be so tough. Maybe I can be vulnerable sometimes. Gets immediately punched by the bullshit of the world. You can't stop me that easily. I'm going to keep trying. Repeat after me. Even if I don't like my body today, I will take care of it. Even if I don't like myself today, I will still be patient and kind with myself. Even if I do not love myself, I will still take care of and be kind to myself, despite not wanting to. Listen. Sometimes you gotta take care of yourself the way you care for a grumpy pet. Yeah, meow hiss, we're still going to the vet. Ay. Feelings are just visitors. Let them come and go. Let them visit, talk for a bit, and then leave on their own terms. You don't have to do what they say, but you could at least be polite enough to hear them through, and then take a moment to breathe and make decisions when you're calmer. This one is an old one, but it is a good one. The secret of defying gravity isn't in the force of your defiance, but in the energy of your flow. Momentum matters a lot, so make sure to nurture it carefully, okay? Especially if you have ADHD. You're not bad at life. It's genuinely difficult. Please give yourself credit for getting through it. I may be trash, but that means I'm someone's treasure. I just wanted to have fun with that one. Technically, I wanted to have fun with all of them, but I'm not always able to. And then the 3 bonus ones I wanted to include were breaking the format of ABCs as Organization for Order. Calm down, edgelords. The whole point of society is that it's not survival of the fittest. Literally, the point is that we're leveraging our collective strengths to lead to better outcomes for everyone. We've been doing it for a couple of thousand years now. The survival strategies our species dumped all of its skill points in is cooperation and community. Don't like it? Walk into the woods and die mad about it then. People talk about caterpillars becoming a butterfly. Becoming butterflies as if they just go into a cocoon, slap on wings, and are good to go. Caterpillars have to dissolve into a disgusting pile of goo to become butterflies. So if you're messed wrapped up in blankets right now, keep going. Spoiler. Sometimes we're gonna have an awful time expressing how we feel. When we grew up mocked or criticized whenever we opened our mouths, or with a lot of judgment about acceptable and unacceptable feelings, you bet we're gonna clam up. Old conditioning dies hard, but it's worth fighting against. Because then you get to choose who you want to be, instead of living your life on repeat.